Well, I'm not going to repeat, what I've already said in the documentary as far as the Anoka Armory and how it all came about. I'll tell you this much, though. Up until the first event at the Anoka Armory, we had never done a live event before. And, back in December, I think it was, a production firm in the Twin Cities had read the article in this Minneapolis Star and Tribune, and they were very interested in what I was doing with the wrestling show. So they invited me and my parents out to eat, and we went and had a nice fancy restaurant and had dinner, and it was all on them. And they brainstormed me, asking all sorts of questions. Very interesting. But they asked questions like, "What if you had unlimited money? What would you do? What would you want?" They were trying to get my goals at the NWF, what my goals were if I had unlimited resources. And I remember telling them if I had unlimited money, I'd like to have a live event in a public place with a bunch of seats. And my time at the time was like bleachers going up all around the ring, just like a mini civic center. And I'd like to have a bunch of fans there and do a live event with multiple cameras filming everything. That was my dream. That was in December 1985. Little did I know, 6 months later, that dream would come true with the first event at the Anoka Armory, 350 fans. I think back to that and I think, wow, we were very ambitious. I was very ambitious. I didn't know if we had enough fan base out there to support an event like that. I in my head we did, but I really didn't know. There was nothing to gauge it by. But we booked the Armory and everything was riding on a good gate, a good attendance. Because we had to fork out so much money to A, build a ring, because we didn't have a ring to go into the Armory with, so we had to make a ring big enough to go into the Anoka Armory with, and B, pay for the Anoka Armory, because all we were able to do was put the down payment down. The day of the event, we only had about 60 tickets sold in advance, and that was mainly from kids selling tickets around their neighborhood, from within the show. They all sold about 5 to 10 tickets each, and between all the different wrestlers selling tickets, we had earned about 60 advanced ticket sales, and that was, so we were, I was thinking if we had 100 people, that'd be pretty good. Another 40 more coming through the gate. We were just blown away when we had 350 fans at that first event, and I'll tell you something, the excitement, the thrill going out to the ring for the first time, having people cheer for you, there is nothing else like that. And that was just a memory that I will never forget. And it was a great experience. And not just for me. You ask anybody that was on that first Armory card in the NWF, you ask anybody that took part of that, any of the kids that were in it, they're going to repeat what I am saying. It was just a thrill. It was just living out your fantasy. It was great. And gosh, what an accomplishment. It really was. And fond memories of the Anoka Armory. That first one, though, was special. The other big event we did there was in October in 1986, the Fall Brawl. And that was another event. Now, that one we sold out. But that one had advanced ticket sales strong. We knew that was going to be big. And what made that event big was because we promoted that thing for 2.5 months. I was doing things that people weren't even thinking of. I went to the local radio station, which is now Cool 108. They were in Anoka at the time, and they weren't as popular then as they were now, but they had a morning show, though, in those days in the 80s, and I would give them tickets for the event. And then that's extra promoting for the show that they would talk about on their morning show when they give the tickets away. These kind of things are no-brainer. That's free publicity. I'd get the Star Tribune to put our spectator sports in the paper. Free publicity. Get them to do our match results. Free publicity. Anytime you can get a paper, any paper, radio station, anybody to give a plug for the league, that's what made the NWF work, and that's kind of the way I operated it. I would look at all avenues and do what I could to make it work, and that's why those Armory events were something special. But I said it before, too. The reason the Armory events were good was because we had a fan base. We had people tuning into our weekly show on cable television every week. So you got all these fans out there, and then they learn from the show that you have a live event coming. It's pretty much a no-brainer. They're going to come to that live event. And that's what happened, and that's why we had so many people show up. There was a time, folks, believe it or not, in the Twin Cities metro area where you could go up to somebody and say, hey, did you ever hear about NWF wrestling on cable television? And there was a hell of a good chance that they heard about NWF wrestling. We were that popular. And I'm not trying to sit here on a pedestal and be braggadocious. I'm just telling it like it is. We really were. In the 80s, that show was everywhere, and it had a following. And great memories. That's all I can say. Great memories.